Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I come to you today in my pyjamas because I filmed a nice little intro for this video, and then before I exported the video I deleted the intro clip by accident, so I'm here again to re-intro it. I've already filmed and edited the whole video. It's actually going up today as I'm filming this. I'm about to, stick this clip on the front and get it uploaded. So please do excuse the appearance, like my hair slicked back and I'm in my pyjamas. I don't have much choice. So basically this is a reading vlog where I'm going to be attempting to speedrun the rest of my February TBR. I started filming this vlog around, I think it was about the 24th of Feb, and by that point I still had quite a lot of books left from my February TBR. Normally I wouldn't care and I would just let myself read whatever I want to read when I want to read it, and I wouldn't put pressure on myself to finish it. However, these books were chosen by Instagram at the beginning of the month. I uploaded a video where Instagram chose my entire TBR for February. Usually in a reading vlog I would get the books chosen and read them in the same video, but because Instagram chose my entire February TBR, I uploaded the choosing video at the beginning, and then throughout the month I've been reading the various books that were chosen in different vlogs. And yeah, I realised around the 24th of February that we had quite a lot left. So this video is me choosing a few books. I didn't read every single one of them, I explain it all in the video, but this is me choosing a few of those books from my February TBR and reading them more quickly than I would usually read books to try and get through my TBR. Hello everyone. Sorry that I look a bit dishevelled. Not that I look nice when I'm well either, but just excuse this appearance. I've been reading The Raven Boys for the last couple of days. Let me see what page I'm on now. It's 161, so I'm a decent way in. I'm like just over a third of the way in, I think. I wasn't sure about it at first. And I was considering, like, to be honest, if Instagram hadn't chosen it, I probably wouldn't have read it. I probably would have put it down. But I've persevered, I've kept going, and it has got better. Is it going to be one of my favourite books of all time? Probably not. Am I going to read the rest of the series? Maybe no. But it's not because the book's bad. I think I've just left it a bit too long to read it. I think if I'd have read this when I was like 13, I think I would have been like completely obsessed with it. And I would have been, I think I'd have just bought into the story more and the intrigue a bit more when I was, just a bit younger. It just feels a bit, I don't know, it's not the vibe I was expecting. I thought it was more dystopian, but it isn't. It's actually paranormal. If you don't know what this is about, because like borderline I still don't, and I definitely didn't before I went in. The Raven Boys refers to these boys that go to a school. I don't know how to pronounce it. Aglayan Bay, something like that, and there's a raven on their school jumper, so they're referred to by other people like in the community as the Raven Boys. So at the minute there's been two POVs. One of them is one of the Raven Boys and one of them is a girl called Blue, and her mum and some of her mum's friends, I think they are, who are living with her. They're all like psychics basically. They all have slightly different kind of, not powers, but like, suppose, yeah, different psychic powers and different talents in that area, and they are psychics as their job. They read people's tarot cards and stuff, and Blue is kind of in amongst all that. And we're starting now, I won't spoil anything obviously, we're starting now to see how the stories of Blue and her family maybe start linking to some of the Raven Boys. But because this is a series, obviously it's not going to be a whole story in one book, so I don't know. I'll have to see how this ends to see if I'm intrigued enough to read the rest of the series, but I don't know. I think it might just be a little bit young, and I don't like explaining it like that because I still read a lot of YA. Like, I still read a lot of books that are aimed at younger people, but I just feel like my personal interest in this would have been a lot more intense when I was younger, if that makes sense. In the middle of this, nearly, and I've also started listening to Girls of Paper and Fire. That was another book that was chosen by Instagram, and I'm listening to that one on audio on Spotify. I'm on about chapter 10 of that one, I think. And it's weird that I'm enjoying the vibes of Girls of Paper and Fire a lot more. It's more like kingdom fantasy kind of vibes. It's also worth mentioning in terms of the Raven Boys, I'm not really a paranormal person. I don't hate it, and I keep reading paranormal books, but they don't tend to work for me as much as like fantasy does, just completely personal. So if you do like paranormal stuff, this might be more intriguing. It's not written like really young or anything. I just think I would have been more invested when I was younger. Anyway, Girls of Paper and Fire. So we're following our main character who was chosen to be a paper girl, which basically means, from what I understand, it basically means she has to move to the kingdom, like this castle, palace, whatever it is, where the king lives, and basically she has to sleep with the king. Not to like give him children or anything, just like for vibes, just for fun, but obviously it's not really fun for her, and it's obviously like a really dodgy situation. Not that far, well, I feel like I am a bit far in, like I'm on chapter 10. I think it's a 14-hour audiobook and I've listened to about 4 hours of it. So I suppose I'm actually not that far in, but just not much is happening in that one. The vibes are better and it's more my kind of book, but it's definitely very slow moving. Like there's just not that much going on. So again, whether or not I carry on with that series will just depend if it picks up a little bit. I can see me wanting to read that series if it does pick up, because as I said, it's just kind of more my current reading tastes. But I'm definitely going to finish at least both books, even if I don't carry on with the series. I'm just going to pop over into my book room and I'll show you the rest of my January TBR. I'm not sure. I would ideally like to finish both of these and read one more, so we've read 3 books in this video. That would be preferable. Is that going to happen though? The chances are probably quite slim. But let's go and have a look at the remaining stack and see if there's anything from it that we can kind of pick out that I might want to read when I've finished both. So this is the stack. Please ignore the pile of reusable face pad things that need washing. But this is my remaining stack. These aren't all from my January TBR. So February, sorry. Ready Player One's left over from January. And was it Star Daughter that was also left from January? I think the ones that were chosen by was it The Notebook? No, I think The Notebook and Ready Player One are left over from January. And maybe Star Daughter. And then these 2 and Swordcatcher are definitely from the Instagram picks video, where Instagram chose my TBR. So, I don't know. I suppose it depends what I'm in the mood to read. I think this is a no. Even though I do want to read this and I am intrigued, there's no way I'm going to finish this by the end of the month. It's currently the 24th of February for context. I do really want to read it, but I'm not going to finish it. And I think that will then just put pressure on and I'll end up like forcing myself to rush through it, and I don't want to do that. So I'm probably not going to read that one. I'm probably not going to get to it, even though I really want to. I don't know. I suppose we'll just have to see what I'm in the mood for, but these are the options anyway that we've got to work with. And obviously I will pop back in once I've finished the other 2 books and we'll try and squeeze in. It might just have to be like, see, The Notebook's the easiest option because it's short, but I don't think Instagram chose that. I'll have to go back and check, but I'm pretty sure they didn't. So I might have to go for like The Fault in Our Stars or something instead. I don't know. I'll pop back in when I've finished the other 2 books, talk about my thoughts and feelings about them, and then we will choose one more to read for the last couple of days of this video. Morning everyone, it's a couple of days later, maybe a day later, I can't remember when I last filmed. I've now finished Girls of Paper and Fire. I listened to about 2/3 of it on audio and then got put in Spotify jail, ran out of listening hours on Spotify. So I finished the last third of this in the physical. I read from this book, the last third of it. This went quite downhill. I think I mentioned that when I started I was really enjoying it. I loved the vibe. It was very much like Kingdom kind of vibes. It was giving like, it's not the same premise as a Selection, but there were definitely similarities in there from the Selection series, but better, written better, and just like a better storyline and a better vibe. But it did go a bit downhill from there. I didn't hate this, and I think I am going to carry on with the series at some point. I will probably not get physical copies. I'll probably end up listening to it like 1 book a month on Spotify for the next few months. It was okay. I just feel like the pacing was weird and all of the friendships and relationships were really underdeveloped. The main like romance in this was very insta-lovey. And they didn't tell each other they loved each other until like over 200 pages in, so that's fair enough. But it was very much like out of nowhere. There was no build-up, there was no progression. I don't feel like they actually really know each other. I don't know a single character in this book. I can't really tell you very much about any of them because we just don't get to know them. I didn't get attached to any of the characters. I didn't particularly care what happened to any of them because they just weren't, in my opinion, they weren't very fleshed out. Things I did like, I liked the setting, I liked the premise, that it touches on some very hard-hitting topics. Please be aware that this has a trigger warning for sexual abuse, quite a heavy trigger warning. It happens on page, so please be aware of that going in. If that is a trigger for you, I would probably not read this, because the whole, not the whole plot, but a very big part of the plot centres around sexual abuse and questionable sexual practices. It's not in a, this is a YA, so it's not got like explicit sex scenes, but it's got quite explicit abuse scenes, if that makes sense. I don't want to spoil things, but I just wanted to give a clear warning for that, because it is very prevalent in this book. And I quite liked that it touched on that topic. I think it was done reasonably well. There were tiny issues I had with it, but on the whole, I think it was done reasonably well. So yeah, I gave this 3 stars. It was fine. I just wish, obviously I can't really talk in detail without spoiling. I just wish the thing, if you've read this, the thing that happens at the end, I wish that whole plot was introduced a lot earlier. I think we could have really built that up throughout most of the book, and I think that could have also been a catalyst for the main romance and for them getting closer, giving them an excuse to work together on the thing that happens at the end. I think would have really developed them as characters and their romance, and not just had a random, quite big plot line bolted on in the last 50 or so pages. So yeah, 3 stars. Enjoyed it enough. We'll carry on with this series at some point, but not particularly a favourite. But not quite finished The Raven Boys yet. My plan is to finish that this afternoon. I've got quite a lot of stuff I need to do around the house this morning, so I'm really listening it to an audiobook. I want to read The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, but my library don't have the audiobook, so I basically had to go with The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, because I've got an audiobook for that, and I need to listen to an audiobook. I don't have that much time to sit down and physically read today, and I want to use the time I've got to finish The Raven Boys. So I needed a book I could do on audio, and the audiobook isn't that long. I think it's 7 something hours, so if I listen to it on like 2 times speed, it won't take me too long to listen to. I did start listening to The Fault in Our Stars very briefly last night. I listened to 11 minutes of the audiobook and had to turn it off because it's just so sad. So I don't actually know if I'm going to be able to read it, but I'm going to try. I'm going to go and do some house jobs now, and I'm going to put the audiobook on and see if I can listen to it and get through it. If I end up DNFing it, it won't be because the book's bad. It'll just be because it's too sad for me. But we will see. I am going to try and read it at least. And I'll pop back in later when I finish The Raven Boys and talk about my thoughts about that. But I am enjoying it quite a lot more now than I was earlier on in this vlog. So I am quite hopeful that I'm going to enjoy The Raven Boys from like now until the end of it a bit more. And then, yeah, I will get back to you in a bit on The Fault in Our Stars and how that goes, and whether I actually am going to end up reading it or not. Please ignore the messy curls. I did overnight curls, and they're just sitting very weirdly because I've had them up. Oh, this isn't getting any better, is it? They're sitting very weirdly because I've had them. Let me sort this out. Disregard the hair. I finished The Fault in Our Stars. It has only been a couple of hours since, well, a few hours since I last spoke to you and said that I didn't know if I was going to be able to read it. I finished it and I gave it 4.5. So like, literally loved it. So glad I persevered. It was very sad at the beginning because when it starts, they're like in a cancer support group and it's obviously very heavy. And don't get me wrong, they talk about cancer obviously throughout the whole book. That's kind of the point of it. It's not that they talk about it less, but it's interjected with humour and romance, and it really is a gorgeous book. So I'm so glad I read it. And I really want to read more John Green now because I just really liked the way that he wrote it and like his writing style and stuff. So yeah, very much enjoyed. My task now for the rest of the day is just to finish The Raven Boys, and then I'll have finished all 3 books for this video. It does mean there's still a couple of books from my February TBR that I didn't get to, but I'm not too bothered about that because I did read some other quite big books this month. I'll talk about them more properly in my end of the month wrap up that I'll upload at the beginning of March. But yeah, we've just got 1 more book to finish now for this video. I don't know how long this video is. I feel like I've popped in less than usual, But the reason I didn't do like a halfway check-in for The Fault in Our Stars was that I just sat down and listened to most of it in one go. Obviously I said I listened to the 11 minutes last night, and then I pretty much listened to most of the rest of the audiobook just all in one go this afternoon. So yeah, that's that one ticked off. I'm gonna go and finish The Raven Boys, and then I'll speak to you either later on tonight or tomorrow at some point to round out this vlog and tell you how I felt about The Raven Boys. I have now finished The Raven Boys. I've literally just finished it like 10 minutes ago. Oh, I've not got my glasses on. I don't think I like that. I just finished it like 10 minutes ago, and I gave it 3 stars. At the beginning I was like, I don't really like this, and then in the middle I was like, wow, this is actually like really good. And then by the end I was back to kind of being like, just meh. There's nothing massively wrong with it. It's not like one thing that happened that made me be like, oh, I don't really like this anymore. It was just, I don't know, I think maybe it was a bit long. It's not a massive book, but it is reasonably chunky. To say this is part of a series, I think if it was a standalone, it could have even been a bit longer and had a bit more in it. But with it being part of like a 4-book series with about 5 novellas on top of that, I just don't think this needed to be this long. And yeah, I can't quite pinpoint what it is that made it go back to a 3-star. It just fell a little bit flat for me. But anyway, that brings us to the end of this video. It is, what day is it today? Yeah, it's the 27th. So with it being a leap year, I do still have 2 days left of the month. Technically, I could probably read another book, but I'm not going to force myself to. I think I'm going to start another book today, but I will probably choose something now for my March TBR and just get a bit of a head start on that. Because yeah, I'm just not massively in the mood really now to pick up any of those books that are left over on the pile I showed you earlier and try and like force myself through it in 2 days. So yeah, anyway, that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please give it a thumbs up down below if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.